SANE evaluation tool for stress. So what is stress? Stress is your mind and body responding to pressure. Too much of it without recovery leads to fatigue and burnout. So this chart here explains everything you need to know about stress. This explains how injury occurs and how real progress is made. So over here on the left side, we have overstressed. That's where breakdown occurs. In the middle, we have adaptable stress. That's where growth occurs. And then we have under stress, which is stagnation or no progress. So each one of these boxes represents a different amount of stress. Now, the white boxes are pre-existing. So that's what you've done the day before, the week before, years before leading up to this. That all accumulates into some stress that's pre-existing. Like you can't change the stress that's going to be on your body today from the sleep you had yesterday, the food you ate yesterday, or the amount of activity you've had over the past couple of weeks. In the black boxes, we have your needs and wants. These are the things you need to do and want to do. So that can be personal stuff, like hanging out with family, things like that. It could be work related, or it could be your exercise, because exercise is something that's really beneficial for us, but it is the most intentional stress we will put on our body. So we have pre-existing that you've accumulated over days, weeks, months, years, and then we have your needs and wants that kind of change day to day. Now over here, we have some color coding for your capacity. So the gray is understimulating, the blue is recovery and adaptation, the orange means you're overreaching, and the red means breakdown occurs. So how that translates over to the graph, if we start over here in the overstressed or breakdown section, you have your sleep, activity, and nutrition. And those stress buckets will be smaller the more you take care of those areas. So the better you sleep, the smaller that box gets. The better your activity is, the less stress you have from being inactive there is. And then nutrition, the better you eat, the less stress on your body from making poor nutrition choices. And then above that, we have personal. So that could be just home life, obligations, family, things like that. We have work above that. Even if you work at a desk or do something sedentary, that is still stress. Mental stress counts as well. And then above that, we have exercise. So you'll notice in this overstress column, this person probably isn't sleeping that well. They're probably not moving as much as they need to. They're probably not eating that well. That's why those boxes are a little bit bigger. And then we have your personal, your work, and your exercise each day. So typically, your work and your personal life isn't really going to change. Like that stuff needs to happen. So what can we control? Because those are typically out of our control. We can stop exercising, but the whole point here is to get in shape. So if our goal is to get this to end in right where that orange is or that blue. So the orange is overreaching, which means if you do overreach, you just need to recover until you come back to the blue. And then we just want to hang out in the blue zone as much as possible because that's where recovery and adaptation happen. So if we come over here to the far right, if you're under stress, this might be the route of we're going to take exercise out of a routine because just mentally I don't have the time or capacity for it. The sleep is still the same. The nutrition's still the same. The activity got smaller, okay? Because when you're not working out, you don't have as much stress from your activity throughout the day. And then above that, we have personal and work. And that person at their best can get up to adaptable stress. Like you're going to not feel stressed anymore. You're going to feel nice and refreshed. In terms of probably mental relief if you're in a season where you do need to just take some time off. But if we hang out here too long, that's where we start to become stagnant or make no progress or even start losing progress. So we want to be in that Goldilocks zone, right in the middle. Okay. So we want to hit right in that blue zone because over time that capacity increases. You'll notice over here on the under stress, over time your capacity to do things decreases. We want to just maintain a level of stress on our body that we can adapt to, and over time just be a more functional, capable, healthier human. And so if we hang out in that blue zone, every once in a while touching into the orange is okay as long as you get back to the blue. It's getting to the chronic breakdown zone of being overstressed consistently where you can have a mental breakdown, you can have aches or pains start popping up from previous injuries. This might be where you develop new injuries. This might be where you're just really moody and short and snappy and you just feel burnt out on everything and you just want to quit. You're just over it. And so we don't want to be constantly up here in the red zone. And the only thing that's in our control that we can do things about is our nutrition, activity, and sleep, because those are the only choices you make of what time do you go to bed? When do you wake up? Do you move your body today or do you not? And then what do you put in your mouth? That's it. That's all you can do. So we're going to focus on what we can control because we want you to still have your personal life. We don't want you to give up family obligations or relationships, friendships, stuff like that. You can't give up your job. Like that's always going to be some stress. And then we want you to be able to exercise because if you take that out, then we're We're going backwards. And so to put this in perspective, athletes, for example, their exercise is their work. So those two boxes would be doubled up. And that's why athletes can speak from a perspective of doing more, because they don't have as much stress on their plate each day, because everything adds up to something and you just build fatigue. And if you don't clear that fatigue, you end up in the red zone. So down here, we have push too hard and break, play it safe and stay the same. Progress lives just beyond comfort inside the recovery zone. Stress is the stimulus, recovery is growth. Over time, with exercise, capacity expands. I always tell people you can do as much as you can recover from, and different seasons of life are going to allow you to do different things. So if you understand this chart, you will understand how burnout, how injuries or lack of progress, stagnation, falling backwards, how all of that happens. And we always need to just go back to the basics of what is our sleep, what is our activity, and what is our nutrition? And am I doing the things to help promote recovery, or am I overreaching a little too often, or am I not pushing myself enough? Because we want to improve our capacity and just be a more capable human to keep doing the things you want to do. So this is the SANE evaluation tool for stress management.